Welcome to Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow on the WDKX podcast network, where the conversation never ends. I'm reminding you that education is in my DNA. Today, I'd like to talk about one thing parents we should remember, especially if we have teenagers in our home. That one thing is structure. Yes, sometimes it can be seen as a negative thing. However, for our teens, they need it, even though they may not say it or they may try to resist. We are trying hard as parents to protect our teens' mental health, right? And as a result, sometimes we may step back when we should not step back. And therefore, there's a couple of things that two psychologists suggest and give insights about. One of them is Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, and the other is Dr. Becky Kennedy. They share some things that I think you would welcome. And as I've said in the past, I am a researcher. I am a person who's all about trying to get as much information as I can to help family, to help friends, to help myself. And as my daughters tell me, I am a geek, whatever. Anyway, so structure, stay calm no matter what may be going on. It may be racing inside of you, the situation, but staying calm means that we're grown-ups and they are teens. They may explode, they may get excited, they may do some crazy things, but sometimes you have to take a deep breath, pause, count to 10 and maybe 20 before you react because you want to take a breath, remind yourself that I'm the person that should remain calm and in control of this situation. The next thing they talk about is the importance of validating the feelings that your teen is experiencing. The breakup with the boyfriend or the girlfriend, the challenge with failing the license exam road test. And then you can say, I see you're really upset. I understand that it didn't go the way you wanted it to go, but understand that life does go on and there will be other opportunities for whatever the situation, for whatever the situation may be. Your teens, his or her feelings are so important, and you need to acknowledge those feelings. The third thing they talk about is saying less. Whew, sometimes I know for myself, I experience the fact that I had to bite my tongue and keep my mouth closed. And sometimes I would have to turn around and act like I was doing something else and do some self talk silently and say, do not say anymore. And that's because I didn't want to crowd the conversation and I didn't want to escalate the situation, especially if there was some anger or disappointment or sadness going on. Oftentimes, chaos happens when we continue to keep talking and talking, and it's like not the best thing. So try not to lecture, try not to defend what you say. Don't go overboard with explaining what you feel, but allow yourself to hear, right? Because in hearing, you can say things, wow, you're really mad. And that is something that's quick and to the point. And then you listen for their response. And then the next thing is to give space for help, meaning the best thing we can do is to offer help, but step back and give them space to seek the help, to ask for the help or for the guidance. When we give them that room and we give them that space, it allows them to reflect and think upon what they're experiencing. So Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Ziegler have provided so many opportunities for us as parents to look at what we're doing to help our child to have structure. If you do these four things on a consistent basis, you will find that your child will begin to have autonomy, being able to self regulate, being able to make some decisions and allow themselves to reflect upon the situation and ask questions or ask for help if necessary. Many of us today have so many experiences going on as adults. So think about things like the most recent war that started early March in the Mid East. Think about what's happening with the price of oil and therefore gas, heating oil, and so on for our homes, as well as travel issues for taking the car or the van on a trip or taking the airplane, how prices are skyrocketing. That's just one example of something that's happening in our world that is impacting all of us. You have been listening to Parenting Tips with Dr. Glow on the WDKX podcast network, where the conversation never ends. Question: what has recently happened in your child's world that has caused structure to be thrown out the door? And how can you help to bring structure into their lives?